afternoon. I'm Chelsea Klaseus. I'm a recycling specialist with the City of San Diego. First and foremost, I just want to thank my colleagues up here. They inspire me every single day. Most of them, if not all of them, are actually part of the San Diego Reuse and Repair Network, which is a great collaboration between jurisdictions, nonprofit, and the private sector. So if you are interested in anything that you've heard today, I really recommend looking us up and attending one of our meetings and getting involved. A lot of what my colleagues and other speakers have spoken to today are things that you can do out in the community. And my piece of the puzzle today is actually going to be something that we are doing internally at the City of San Diego. And I'll be talking about how we have incorporated different reuse and repair policies and programs into what we do as a municipality. The ones I'll be covering today are either already established or they are coming through the pipeline. So a little bit of background. As you heard earlier, a lot of what we see going into the landfill as far as bulky items are things that we look at and think, oh man, that is a perfect chair. Why did that end up here? Or that desk. And we see it time and time again. And we were seeing this at the Miramar landfill. And simultaneously at this time, this was a number of years ago, I was working with different thrift stores and charities on ways that they could divert more material from the landfill. And what I heard from the thrift store side time and time again as well was, what do we do with particle board? What do we do with furniture, bulky items that are broken or we can't sell? You can ask any of my coworkers. I am a troubleshooter. I may not know the answer to a question, but I will do my best to problem solve and troubleshoot. And so I took the questions that the thrift stores were asking and I went out to the landfill and thought to myself, okay, what is the City of San Diego doing with our surplus material? What kind of programs do we have in place? And if I'm going to be trying to help these other, nonprofits and other sectors, I need to be making sure that we're looking internally at our own practices. I asked myself, what problem are we trying to solve as it relates to surplus property? So obviously, we want to be able to divert material that is divertible from the landfill. We want to be able to identify what the obstacles are to recycling or reusing or repairing hard to recycle items. And also, I think as jurisdictions, we have a really unique opportunity to pilot things and show results in sectors that maybe aren't as established, right? The recycling sector is up and running. The reuse, repair, refurbishing sector is small, but it's growing. And so even though the City of San Diego isn't taking that on as a job, it is in our best interest to be able to pilot these things to support and bolster a burgeoning sector. The way that the City of San Diego defines surplus property is any personal property used, obsolete, depreciated, or surplus to current and projected needs as to be unfit or undesirable for use or retention by the city. And so you can see examples of items that we have received to our surplus property area, anything from conference tables, chairs, binders, cabinets. This picture shows how it all started. So I did some research on what our programs were initially, went out to this area that we lovingly call the tank, and it's where surplus property ended. And you can see it's not shaded, it's not covered. If it wasn't damaged, it became damaged or warped by the weather. When we were walking through with staff, we started to point out things and how these are resources and what could have been, reused or auctioned. And I think a lot of times when you're working with the people who have boots on the ground, it's important to be able to kind of shift their lens, right? It's a paradigm shift, going from waste to resources, correct? I think just educating and doing that piece was really important, but the next really important piece was developing policies and procedures. So this is what we were given, this is what we inherited. And my colleagues and I, we had a little virtual warehouse, kind of like an internal Craigslist, and we decided to revamp our website. We worked with our procurement department as well as our IT department in making this user-friendly and also making sure that the back end of this program and website that we were able to export the data that we wanted for reporting purposes. We decided to make it a decentralized program, so instead of making it really labor intensive with the staff at our labor stores that manage that surplus material, we wanted to make sure that we empowered each department to be able to post and generate their own photos and information, and then it would be point-to-point distribution within the different departments. It was really decentralized, which is great for reducing carbon emissions and reducing overall labor. We also worked with our moving contractors to make sure that those specs were a part of different moving contracts. We really wanted to hit home this idea of hierarchy, right? So as we have been redeveloping our internal administrative regulations, so the guidelines that dictate city departments and how we operate as a city department, we really made sure that we were able to identify what the hierarchy was. So if you're not already going to be selling that item, like it's a car or a piece of equipment, you have to put that item on our internal redistribution virtual warehouse for up to 30 days. And so that's really exciting to be able to internally redistribute throughout the city, send it off to auction, and or let it be available to different nonprofits and or agencies in the region. Then there's this other piece, right? So we've got the kind of reuse piece and the donation piece and internal redistribution, auction. We've got all of this diversion happening. But what about repair, right? This is something that I know we've talked about a lot on the Reuse and Repair Network, this idea of job training and creating this burgeoning sector of repair and, this maker culture. We have already an established relationship with Urban Core, the City of San Diego does. We thought that we would pilot a refurbishing program. There are a number of items that come into our surplus property warehouse that maybe is already broken, and we do not have a venue for that material or a final place for that material. And so we wanted to know, is there a way where we can deconstruct a chair if it's already missing all of these pieces, and if so, can we use it for other chairs to fix? This picture right here, that is actually a conference table that came from the office of the mayor. During our pilot, we were able to take that conference table, send it to Urban Core. They were able to refurbish it, making sure that they adhered to our environmentally preferable purchasing procedures. So, low VOC, non-toxic materials. We got that back, and instead of buying a new conference table, we were able to refurbish it. We saved money. It provided a job training opportunity. We're supporting this new sector, and we're solving problems, right? As jurisdictions, I think that we're called to do so, and especially when it comes to these hard-to-recycle items, it's a problem to solve, and I think that we're up to it. It's been a very successful pilot. We are currently crafting a contract with Urban Core for X amount of money that each department, instead of going out to buy a new conference table or buy a new chair or buy a new cabinetry item, they can get a quote from Urban Core to our purchasing and contracting department to get it refurbished. We have a way to track the cost savings. So we think it's a really exciting new project. And once we have that in place, we really look forward to other jurisdictions jumping on board with those contracts as well, maybe piggybacking off of it, because this is really something exciting for the region. And even though we are the ones piloting it, it's really a resource and a solution to a problem. You're all here as problem solvers wanting to learn more. We're all here talking to you about problems that we have that we're trying to currently solve. The goal is zero waste, and that's what we are doing. Again, my name is Chelsea Klaseus. I'm with the City of San Diego. This was about using innovative and reuse and repair policies to solve problems. Thank you.